In today's recovery workout, I'm going to be shaving my calluses down. I'm going to be dealing with a little bit of niggling golfer's elbow and tennis elbow pain, and also managing some minor shoulder tears that I had a week ago. Let's get into it. First thing on today's menu for my recovery workout is to deal with these calluses. So these calluses have been giving me some grief. They're getting big enough that they're really pulling on the flesh when I hang. So I use this callus shaver. And I only found out about these things a few months ago, maybe a year ago now. Time flies, doesn't it? But before having one of these, dealing with calluses was a real problem for me. And if you have a look at this, that's what I got off from that callus there, from that first little bit that you just saw me do. And you just scrape this razor blade over it from different angles, and it just shaves it right down for you. So it's a real problem having calluses like this when you do as much hanging and everything as I do. They really get, they become quite problematic, but I don't know how well you can see that, but that is like a big chunk of flesh there, and that's really smooth now, and there's just one or two more bits that I'll get off. But if you look at this one, when I get on it, look at that. There's big chunks of dead callus skin that come off, and they come off so easy, and it's really inexpensive. This thing was only, I think it was about $12 or $13. As always, all of the equipment I use, there's a link in the description if you want to get one. But before having this tool, I used to have to get into the shower and soften up my hands and get clean and then chew them off. I couldn't be bothered doing it with one of those. I tried using those pumice stones, and I just found them really annoying. All right, next on the list for today is tennis elbow management. So I'm going to be basically preventing myself from getting tennis elbow because my forearms are just getting hammered at the moment with all the work I'm doing. And because I'm rehabilitating a really minor case of golfer's elbow before I move into some more intense single arm pulling movements, working towards a one arm pull up. And because I'm doing that, I have to start doing some neutral grip curling and neutral grip pull-ups. And that means that we get more load on the lateral muscles in the forearm, on these muscles out here. And so that means you can develop tennis elbow if you don't take care of it. And this is a really good way to do it. I know that last week I did this on the box, but I haven't done these exercises for so long I forgot that it's much easier to get the lateral side like this, just on the wall. So I'm just moving the physio ball just to different points on my forearm, and then just flexing and extending my wrist to floss the muscles and the fascia, and just hitting these spots to get a release. And it is an absolute scorcher here today. Just not even really, well, I'm not moving at all. In my office, I'm just dripping with sweat since I've come down here. So you really, my forearms really get a lot of work in what I do. If you watch my videos, you know, every day I'm doing handstands, I'm doing flow work, I'm using my arms in every single workout. So I don't do like leg days where my arms don't do anything. My hands and my arms are working all the time. So it's a lot of load and a lot of management that you need to do. This kind of thing is it's a really important part of my programming, doing a recovery day like this. So now for the golfer's elbow, it's the same thing, but it's now just on the medial side of the forearm. And you're just moving up and down and finding the different spots where it feels tender, and then just pushing down hard with the other arm. So this hand, the left arm, is pushing down on the right arm as I flex and extend my wrist. And I'm actually going to do, when I do my muscle scraping today, I'm going to do a little bit of muscle scraping around my shoulder and my bicep as well, because of the minor injury that I had a week ago. So I can feel that my bicep needs a little bit of work. So I'll show you how I do that as well. Good news, the golfer's elbow is almost 100% gone, which is really, really cool. Normally I can really feel it when I do that, and I can barely feel anything. Whew, I'm sweating. Okay, I'm going to try and wipe the sweat off, because now I'm going to be putting this Burnie cream on. So this is my muscle scraper, and this is my athlete's gel, whatever's in that. You know, it's just like deep heat or, you know, some kind of sports gel that you can buy from the supermarket. God, I'm so sweaty. This is not going to be fun. Alright. And I always scrape towards the heart and pay extra attention to the tendons that connect to the medial epicondyle there. Right down there. And then I'm going to go up onto my bicep a bit today. So I'll go up here. A bit of that gel on there. And right up into the shoulder. Oh, and there's some bumpy spots in there to work through. Okay. A little bit up there as well. Now I'll move on to the lateral epicondyle, that out here. But I do the whole length of the forearm anyway, because even though it's the tendons up there that cause tennis elbow or golfer's elbow, it's the tendons that are connected to those whole muscles that are running right down the forearm that do that. So I still like to get right down there. All right, let's change arms. These things are great, muscle scraping. When I first found out about muscle scraping from my friend Tom Cartwright, who's a chiropractor. And when I got he does a whole bunch of different techniques, so he doesn't just do chiropractic. And when I first got golfer's elbow, God, probably about 7 years ago now, and I used to go and see him every week or two, and he used to do muscle scraping like this for me on it. So I don't know how much it was a part of the rehab, but it felt good, and it makes sense when you hear why they do it. I might just do a bit on this bicep just to make my body feel even though there's nothing going on that side. Okay. Oh, that really burns. My arms are on fire now. This is when you work out as much as I do, I find it challenging to find the time to do this stuff. Like normally, it's hard enough to find all the time to do my workouts. So this kind of thing gets neglected, which is why you see me doing these videos on Sunday. Instead of doing a workout on Sunday, because I really believe that if you work out as much as I do, that taking one day of recovery is really important. But so instead I just use my Sunday, instead of doing a workout, I just do all this stuff. And to finish off, I'm just going to do a little bit of trigger point release up around my traps and maybe a little bit on my back. I can't overemphasize how important this stuff is for me. If you find that you suffer from muscle aches and pains and things that cause you to want to go and get sports massages and chiropractic treatments and things like that, if you're not doing trigger point release like what I'm doing here, like in the least, just with one of these physio balls, I really think that you'd be quite amazed at how powerful they are. It really does wonders, because it's a self-massage, you know. You're finding the spots on yourself that are sore and then getting stuck right into it. And sometimes I even can get a better result by doing self-massage like this than I can getting a massage from a therapist. Often when you go and get a massage, they just miss the mark, you know. They don't get that spot that you're really looking for. And you can choose how much pressure you want on it as well, just by how much of your own body weight you put onto that ball. Oh, there's a good one over here. It's funny, sometimes you find them in areas that you didn't even really think, which is, that's something that would have come out next week in training for sure. As soon as I started putting some real load into those muscles, any kind of tightness like that is going to come out. And I'm getting into the rotator cuff on this side, because this is the arm where I had my little mishap just over a week ago now, which is almost better. So next week I'm going to be continuing my my structural balance training. I'm doing a month of structural balance training after I did some minor tears in this shoulder here a week and a bit ago, and it just really highlighted something that I knew I already had, which is a lack of strength in my left arm. And so what happened is, doing these pike push-ups, which is quite a demanding calisthenics movement, I was just favoring my strong side, which means the strong side was really overloaded, and did a couple of little tears there. And so I feel like some of that damage is in the rotator cuff. And that'll do. Stitching time saves 9. I'll see you guys next week in my workouts.